off the front with Tyler Pierce, vegan cyclist.
Hey vegan cyclists, so this is the P12 race and we come in, I want to say maybe over halfway into the race. My GoPro only records an hour, and so I recorded the first one, and so I only had probably 10 minutes or so in my GoPro, and so the guy that I was with, Alex, this is actually his camera, but that's my power. So it's his camera, but my overlay. So the power and the heart rate, that's all mine, but we're on board with Alex. On the last lap, we do go on board with me. But so this is, we got into a break right off the gun. Now, caveats: one, Chico stage race was this weekend. So a lot of the big heavy hitters, not present, okay? Most of us, I think all of us, already raced once before. And so there's, guys are kind of waxed. The wind was really bad. I think there was only 10 or 11 guys that started this race. So it wasn't, it wasn't this crazy big, huge group that was hard to break away from, but still, doesn't matter, right? Getting a breakaway from any amount of cyclists is difficult to do because no one wants that, right? So me and Alex, we got off right off the bat, and it was an hour and a half race, and I think I averaged 181 beats per minute for an hour and a half or something like that. So it was pretty gnarly. And there was two teammates that were chasing pretty good. My coach was in this race. A lot of guys got flicked right on the first section, but I don't have footage of that, right? Because we're kind of jumping in here pretty late. But so we'll kind of go through how this happened. Now you can see here is a group, a three-man chase group, two teammates, and then one guy who rode like 60 miles to get to this race, raced and then rode 60 miles home, put in like a 200-mile day. So, if you don't beat that guy, you know what I'm saying? So that's the chase group, and then right behind them is like the next chase group with two Cortex and one other guy. Now there was maybe 4 or 5 other guys that got dropped. One though had just won his race before he did this, so but look here, you got this guy chasing us, and then there's the group, and that's pretty much right off the bat, okay? And so you can kind of get a sense of who's there. Now check this out. This is how we initiated the gap. Is everyone here is blown apart because everyone's trying to bridge up to us, right? One by one by one by one. And what ends up happening, instead of them all staying together as a group and working together, is that everyone's kind of matching watt for watt. Everyone's putting in a ton of energy and burning their matches to try to get up to this break. And so, we were working really, really well together, but since everyone just kind of split up and we're trying to, every man for himself for a little bit there, that's how we really sort of initiated that first gap. They kind of came back together, but we had the gap, and then it broke apart again to where, like that first picture I showed you, there's 3 chasing and then a 3 chase group on that. And so what also was pretty cool is that you can really tell, right? So because of these 180 turns, right, it's really easy to gauge your gap. And that's always the hardest thing in a breakaway, is you think you're going hard enough, but they're closing down on you, or you're going way too hard and then you blow yourself up. So with these 180 turns, you can gauge just how far away they are, or if you're making time or losing time. So you can look at even these cones. We can say, okay, at that point, they're at that cone, right? And then next lap, they're at the next cone. And so for maybe the first 3 or 4 laps, man, the gap was just holding, and it was maybe only 20 seconds. It wasn't a big gap. And they had, 3 versus us 2, and they were all going to be working together well. So we were going pretty hard. I mean, we were going a pace that I don't think we could have sustained the whole time if we had to hold that pace. But there was a point where you could tell that their will was broken. Okay, but so listen here.
What's that? I'm gonna take the hill. You're gonna take the hill?
So I tell him that I'm gonna take the hill, right?
You got it, dude. You got it.
He gives me some encouragement.
Easy, easy.
Tells me to go. But so the thing was for me is that I wanted to take this hill at my pace. Because when Alex was taking this hill, man, he was going a little bit harder than I wanted to go, right? And so in a breakaway, you gotta communicate with your fellow break mates, right? You gotta really let them know how you're feeling and where you're at. And so then what happens is I would take the headwind section and that hill, and he would take the tailwind section and the other hill. That's kind of what we fell into. And you can see here that my watts, you know, he's still powering 28 miles an hour, and I'm able to get on his wheel and really recover in this tailwind section. For whatever reason, man, I felt like I could fully recover on this section. So I'd work with him and tell him, hey, I'll take this section, you take the other section. And so, you know, we could make sure that we manage our energy. We never messed around the whole time. I mean, it was business. It was full on business the whole time, right? I would take my pulls in my sections. He would take his pulls in his sections. Again, we were just always communicating. And man, he was such a good at like encouragement, just always telling me like, good job, dude, good job, you got it, you got it. And you need that, right? You always need a little bit of encouragement because it's when you're out here on the break, man, it's difficult because you just got to be pinning it the whole time. So then I see Big Vegan Jeff with the camera. Look at this. Snap, snap. Big Vegan Jeff, he vlogged the thing. And honestly, dude, if you ever see a photographer on the side of the road, you got to get aero. You got to get in the drops. You got to look extra cool, right? Get that extra cool shot. And man, dude, I felt so good in this race. It was crazy how much watts I was able to hold. One, after the first race where I did a lot of work, and then, you know, an hour into this race, I'm still able to put down a decent amount of watts. You know, absolutely the best legs that I've had all year, maybe ever. And so we flick to my camera now, and this is on the last lap. And so here's where like the friendship starts to break down, right? Or whatever is that when you're in a break with someone and it succeeds, man, there's a strong bond between you two. You're just like, yeah, we're invincible. And I know that I can't out sprint him. And I don't know what I was really thinking. I did not try to win this race, right? I should have at this point started attacking. I should have done something. And I don't know. I sort of felt maybe too much camaraderie, too much of just, let's just roll it in, which I regret now. I really do. I wish that I'd tried something, even just anything to because I don't know, maybe he could have been just on the red, and if I had just thrown one good solid attack and held it, you don't know. But so I sat on his wheel because it's like, dude, you're the sprinter, especially on this hill. His power, his body is just like perfectly suited for this. And so, at the end of the day, I think I'm like 3 hours of ride time right now because we did a good cool down. And I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe he cramps, maybe something. I don't know, maybe his chain drops off. I hit just about 1100 watts, and then he just puts on the turbo boosters. And it's like, okay, forget that. Comes across the finish line, takes his win, and he did good. So we got third in the first race, and then first in that race. Now this part, Tony went from the very back. Dude, Tony was on the very back from the gun, and then somehow like leapfrogged his way from group to group to group, and actually come and snag third place on the sprint. Which, man, that was a strong ride for sure to be able to do that. So there's the podium. And that's me getting second place at the Monterrey. As always, guys, vegan cyclist. Yeah.